they haven't done that. I think the only time they possibly tried that was the home game against Manchester City. They played an extra midfield player. I think Fred, Eriksen and Casemiro played in that game. I think today, looking at that and looking at games going forward, the manager will be thinking, I need to stop teams before I think about going toe-to-toe with these teams. And I think they'll have a better chance of not getting embarrassed anyway. It's difficult to watch that and not be embarrassed with the 7-0 result.
Yeah, and it's the heaviest loss of Erik ten Hag's career as well. But on the other side, Liverpool were ruthless. They were clinical.
They were. They scored virtually every chance in that second half. There were one or two, don't get me wrong, one or two other occasions, but they were pretty ruthless with whatever they got given. To say where'd you start? I mean, Gakpo was brilliant. Mo Salah breaking the record. But the overriding headline it's 7. I mean, you almost need to see it to believe it. It was stunning. And this is a Manchester United team that come into the game, you know, everybody raving about them. They're flying high. They're in all 4 competitions. Well, won 1 competition. They were still in 2 cup competitions. Maybe an outside chance of winning the Premier League. So they were coming here flying high, and the question marks really were by Liverpool's name. But that was just blown out of the water. And if there's ever a turning point for Liverpool, you know, to get back on track, then surely this is it.
And in goals galore today as well. We didn't expect all of those goals, certainly, of course, in that fixture. 7 home, certainly, of course, in that fixture. 7 home wins on Saturday. City did their job, and then, of course, Nelson, the leaders Arsenal, did theirs. Victory for Villa, another crushing defeat for West Ham at Brighton. Finally win for Graham Potter and Chelsea. Defeat for West Ham at Brighton. Finally win for Graham Potter and Chelsea. 4th successive away defeat in all competitions for Spurs at Wolves. A big win for the bottom club Southampton at home to Leicester. Earlier on, Everton led twice at the City ground. 2 Brennan Johnson goals each time. Pegged them back, got Nottingham Forest a point as well. And we have to read this and say it to really believe it. In the Premier League at Anfield, between the 2 giants, Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. The Premier League weekend is rounded off. The Monday night football is Fulham's trip across West London to face Brentford. So, as well as that staggering scoreline and all the rivalry, it's vitally important for Liverpool in the top 4 chase as well. They're now just 3 off it with a game in hand on Spurs. They have played 1 more than Newcastle. They're a point ahead of Eddie Howe's side. United stay in 3rd position, 4 clear of the Spurs, having played a game less. At 2-1 and 1-0, Everton were out of the bottom 3 earlier and Leeds were in it, but that equaliser for Nottingham Forest means Sean Dyche's side are still in the drop zone on goal difference, level on points now with Leeds, just 1 off West Ham and 2 off Leicester. Forest up to 26 points. We have to have, let's get straight to it and let's see it. Cody Gakpo took a while to get up.
Cuts inside on that right foot and uses the defender Martinez to bend it round. It's a beautiful goal. Really it's a beautiful goal. Really good individual goal from Gakpo.
Yeah, it's a lovely finish, a good bit of movement and stuff. Good play by Liverpool really, but there's things we can pick out of it. Of course we can from United's point of view, but I'm sure from Gakpo and Liverpool's point of view it's a really good goal.
Yeah, and Gakpo's 3 goals in 4 league starts now. Right, United set up an organisation in this then, chaps.
Well, first question, Scholesy. Dalot, what's he doing there?
I have no idea. They are a little bit all over the place here. You see Casemiro over there, Michael on the left-hand side. Vigos is virtually playing as a central midfielder holding player there. You'd expect Anthony to be into this space as well, just cutting the gap out there where it eventually comes from, but it doesn't happen.
The interesting thing, Steve, is you've got a couple of players and you've got a massive space right across here, but you've got 2 players that are free. And actually you can see players from Manchester United, players from Liverpool, i.e. Nunez, Robertson, both pointing, saying, give the ball to Gakpo, he's on his own, let's forward it a little bit. Because eventually it doesn't go to Gakpo, it goes to Robertson, but there's 2 of them free because Dalot isn't marking any of them. And then when the ball goes there, it all starts to unravel. This is a brilliant run, an absolutely brilliant run from Gakpo. Nunez is in a central area and he makes this run out wide, and when we just forward it a little bit further, Scholesy, it's Fred that has to vacate the central area to track the run. No problem there. As things stand, that's not a bad position now of Manchester United.
Yeah, not a bad position as well. It all came from bad position in the first place, but now Fred's ended up having to look after Gakpo in this left-hand side where he is, and he gets done by the movement. He's obviously not a full-back. He looks out if you play it on Michael. I think he does have a little look out at him, and that's when Gakpo goes inside. Great way to pass from Robertson. I expect Varane as well. Would you expect him to do a little bit better, Michael?
Yeah, you could. And let's just confirm, in terms of the offside, because we were thinking, is Luke Shaw, is he the one that's playing him offside? Onside, but he's not. You can quite clearly see that he's onside, even with Varane. And then once he cuts inside Scholesy, we're just questioning the role of Martinez here. Let's just point him out. This is Martinez here. And what we're thinking, and what you mentioned straight away, is does he run across the line of vision for David De Gea?
I certainly don't think it helps De Gea. I don't think he's quite in line at the point it's kicked, but David can also think now that the ball might hit him, but when he does hit it, he has gone right past him. And you see David's reaction there towards Martinez. He doesn't quite have a go at him, but I think he should do. So I think it happened a couple of times. There was once before with Robertson, where he ended up clearing it off the line. He's going far too deep, as you'll show here, Michael. He should be getting up the pitch. Really, can he stop the shot? Can have effect on the shot rather than getting the keeper's way?
Exactly. Let's just have a look at this here, actually, Steve, because one thing that you would say is that players, even if he can, this is where he should be in line. Even if he comes along this, wherever he is along this line, he's got to stay on that line. He can't be dropping deep and blocking the goalkeeper's view. And as you see, when the ball's actually played, he's a lot deeper than everybody else, and arguably in this line of sight, and that's what causes the goal.
He needs to trust his goalkeeper, Steve. This is a top goalkeeper you're talking about. Do not get in his way. If anybody gets in the goalkeeper's way, it's criminal.
OK, well, all the headlines ahead of this game was about one Dutchman, Eric.
Same starting 11 that started at Wembley. Is that coincidence, or are you looking for momentum from that?
No, I think it's coincidence. It could have been played also others, but we thought it was the best lineup for this game.
You said the best lineup for this game. What are you looking for in particular? What have you got to do here to come out with a positive result?
We have to play our best because we play against an incredible good team, and when they play on their levels, then we have to be really good to win. But we like the challenge. We will go for it.
You said, although you haven't managed here with a crowd before, in terms of the atmosphere, you expect it to be hostile and you welcome that. Have you spoken to your players about using that and their mentality in the game?
Mentality you need, and every player has to bring his performance and his level, because when you don't, you have a problem. We know that, and so we have to be ready. But this game of this team show mentality, resilient, determination, all the games before, so I expect today as well.
Do you expect today to be different, very different, or similar at all to the game at Old Trafford?
No, it's another game. Of course, it's months ago. Both teams developed. You can't compare it. That's gone. It's the past, and now we have to think in the future. And we're looking forward.
It's been a very good week for you so far. What would it make it if you won today?
I only think about that, about performance. We have to bring the performance. It's all about that, and then we look further, and then we can anticipate or react what we will say after.
Only David De Gea in that Manchester United team have won at Anfield with Manchester United, but it is the team, as I say, that won the League Cup final or started the game at Wembley. Is that pretty much as strong as it gets at the moment, Paul?
Yeah, I think so. I think possibly if Martial was fit, he may come in to that centre-forward role, but other than that, I think that's his strongest team. Very attacking team. What I like about this manager, he doesn't care about going to these big grounds, these tough games, and really giving it a go. There's no thought of playing an extra midfield player. He plays attacking players, and even with Casemiro, people probably regard him as a holding midfield player. He isn't. He's been chipping in with goals. He's been the one getting forward, and he doesn't. Sometimes if you play two holding midfield players, you're looking to protect your centre halves, but they trust them centre halves. Varane and Martinez have been outstanding, and sometimes they want protecting, but they don't need protecting because the top players themselves have got great experience, especially Varane. And look, it's interesting. There's so many managers who might go to these places and try and defend deep, hit him on the counter-attack. But he's all about having possession of the ball, trying to win the game the right way, and creating chances for his best players, and we know what the minute Marcus is, that player.
And that's backed up by the fact. Let's see how he's feeling ahead of this one at Anfield.
Jurgen, you had options. Tell us about your thinking behind the midfield today.
Just a mix, the mix of what we need, the experience and the football part. That's what I think. Harvey played a really good game against Wolves. We had set a new record on this season, at least in counter-pressing situations. Harvey was very much involved in that. So and on top of that, he's a good connector. These kind of things, Hendo, with his experience and all these kind of things. That's why it doesn't. I mean, has nothing about Stefan. He was outstanding. We had other options as well. So that's good. It didn't happen that often this season, but we have them now, and that's why we decided for that up front. Yes, Diogo was obviously really good, but we should not force it and have Cody there as well in the backhand, and Robbo comes back. That's all.
From your experience of these games, what's key to coming out on top?
Play good is helpful. Yeah, be aggressive, but not overly. Be really in the situations, be compact, be wild in moments, be brave. So these kind of things. So yeah, you have to make it's a derby, but we all know that sometimes the emotions to get the best out of us a little bit, or the other way around. So we have to make sure that, yes, it's a very important game for us for a variety of reasons, but we have to make sure that we are calm as well. And that's what we will try in the end, but it's all about how good we defend and how good we attack, so easy.
When he's talking about defending, Liverpool, of course, have 4 consecutive clean sheets in the Premier League coming into this one. The preparations and the warm-up